Welcome to Sunday at Unity Daytona Beach. Each week we share moments from our Sunday service, messages, meditations, and reflections meant to support you wherever you are on your journey. So, take a breath, let your shoulders soften, and allow this time to be a gentle pause in your day. May what you hear meet you right where you are and offer a little encouragement for the path ahead.
As we enter this time of sacred meditation, join me now, and when you are ready, you're willing, gently close your eyes. Taking a deep breath, fill your chest with the oxygen that we need, and slowly release. As you release, you lower your shoulders, you unclench your jaw, you gently place your hands on your lap. Take another deep breath and slowly release. We gently plant our feet on the floor to the ground. And in this space, we release all that doesn't serve us. We are aware of what is in us. That light, God, Source, Universe, and through our conscious intention, we bring joy. That joy that is within us. That joy that's going to bring light into your life and co-create your world. We do not rely on external circumstances for our joy. It is within us, and we are aware of it. So today, be in the moment. Life circumstances come, life circumstances go. The joy is always within you. And we thank Source. And we have that power within us to co-create the world that we live in. To co-create peace. So now, just let it all go. And just be present in the moment and in the peace that we're in for the next few seconds. As we prepare to come back, we become aware of our breathing. Take a breath in. We exhale. Slowly, gently. And we are grateful. We are grateful for the blessings in our lives, for the world that we live in, and that we do have the power to co-create that joy and peace that this world needs. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. And we thank God.
So will you say with me, I am the place God shows up. Say that with me.
I am the place God shows up.
You sure about that?
Yes.
Always?
Always.
Well, we don't always, not everybody around us might know it all the time, right? Because we're human. Raise your hand if you were human this week at all. Okay. And do we have a little room for each other for forgiveness and support, even if we're not doing it perfectly?
Yes.
My friends, yes. My friends, yes. And there's a lot getting our attention in the world right now. Everything we see tells us how bad we are, and I'm here to tell you how good you are. I have a great job because I love to see people excited about their spiritual lives. I love to see people believing that they can, in fact, co-create their lives with God, no matter what is on the news and what is happening with the stock market. Yes, it's going up and down, and, it's a real interesting time, isn't it? A very interesting time. But hasn't it always been?
Yes.
Has there ever been a time things were perfect in our history? Never. And, how you know the character of a person is what they do under pressure. So we can take this time right now and look for someone to blame, and that's very easy to do. Or we can say, what is mine to do at this moment right now? See, to try to blame somebody else gives all your responsibility away. And that is a place of powerlessness. Okay. Now, I'm not saying there's some injustices. That's obvious. But what I'm saying is, as long as I'm looking out here for somebody to blame, I'm forgetting to take 100% responsibility for my life and world. When I was a little kid, I wanted some spending money. And my dad said, sure, how much do you need? And I said, just $1, $2 maybe? He said, I'm going to show you how to get that. I said, okay. I was just looking up at Pops with all this belief. He was just going to hand me a little dollar. But that did not happen. He said, I want to show you something called a shoe shine kit. And he said, I'm going to show you how to do this. Now, I learned it in the military. I'm going to show you how to shine these shoes up. And I said, okay. He said, well, let's get in the car. We're going to ride up the street here. Let's go back. Let's go up there by Sims Hardware where all these guys come in these work boots. See if you can make a little money. I said, well, what do you mean? He said, everything I just showed you, you're going to sit out here with this little kit. And as people come by, they're going to pay you a little dime to shine their shoes. And by the time you do 10, you'll have that $1. Well, I did it. I had the time of my life. Every now and then I got a whole quarter. I'm sure they thought, this poor kid, how is this? But I was learning a powerful lesson. My fortune begins with me. And that's the title of today's message. Your fortune begins with you. How are you showing up in the world? How How are you giving to the world? What is your consciousness about what you are receiving and what it is you want and desire? The interesting thing is, friends, we have more power than we can imagine. One of Unity's famous authors says, you have as much power as everyone who's been on this planet or ever will be. Access to it. Access to it. But you've got to use it. You've got to use it. I have a friend that says, I've got the gift, I've got to use it. Right, so we have to use that God-given power. So the book we've been studying, Spiritual Economics, I've showed you a picture. I've held mine up. Mine's so old that one in the bookstore is a lot newer, fancier copy. It's been updated a little bit. But one of the things Eric Butterworth says is, your fortune begins with you and your consciousness. And he says, rather than trying to manifest all the time, be in the consciousness of abundance. And you cannot help but manifest good. Right? And so it's not about the outer, but it's about the inner work. It's about the inner work. And even the stock market, my friends, even the stock market, as we see going up and down, do you know what it's based on? It's
Greed.
Yeah, that's right. Say it again.
Confidence.
Consumer confidence. Consumer confidence. In other words, you are on the side of the solution or the problem. It depends. But one way or another, you're going to be on one side of that. So consumer confidence, the stock market goes up. Lack of confidence, what happens? And then now we've got AI in the middle, so we don't know, nobody knows what to do. So it's up and down every day, up and down every day. But what I'm saying is, we're not victims to the stock market. We're creating what it's doing as a collective. So see, sometimes as individuals, it's hard to see, how do I impact that? But in truth, we are impacting the world at large, the consciousness in which we live. And everywhere we are, God is. So it's like, how do I do this? Well, it's really interesting what the Bible says about our consciousness and having and not having. It says, this is from Matthew 25. Now listen to this. Say to the person next to you, listen. Now listen, don't miss it. Because I used to be mad at this verse. I was mad at it. Because listen to what it says. For to all those who have, more will be given.
Screw that.
Wow, you are comfortable in here. Okay. That was new.
Yeah.
I love you. I mean it. For to all those who have, more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who have nothing, even what they have will be taken away. And that's hard truth right there. What does that mean? Any ideas? Raise your hand. Say it out loud.
Your consciousness.
That's right. Your consciousness. What were you going to say, Sam?
It reminds me of that, like, if we were to take all the money in the world and spread it out evenly, it will end up right back where it was.
Yes.
Quickly.
Yes. She said, just for the online viewers, if we took all the money and spread it out evenly all over the world in just a little bit of time, it's going to end up right back where it was because of the consciousness of the receivers. Yeah. We've seen it happen on the news where somebody wins the lottery and a few years later they're broke. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Why is that? Because they didn't have the what? The consciousness to hold it. Yeah. Because in truth, you only really receive what is yours in consciousness. That's the only thing you can really, truly receive. That was a pass-through situation on that lottery. Yeah. And so it becomes, so where am I putting my source? If in God I live and move and have my being, if in God it is the Father's good pleasure to give me the kingdom, what is that? Well, in our culture today, we always equate that with finance, and it certainly includes finance, but it really starts with the consciousness that everywhere I am, God is. Everything I need will be provided. It's that confidence and faith rather than living from fear. And as a whole culture right now, we seem to be living from fear. What if? What could happen? What's going to go? And all this fear is just, we're hurting ourselves with that. Instead of living from our faith, knowing wherever I am, God is, there is nothing to fear. I've had people say to me, are you crazy? There's nothing to fear. Just turn on the news. Go in these certain neighborhoods. I'm saying there is nothing to fear. God's presence, God's power, God's love, God's energy are sustaining me. And when we have the consciousness to receive, what we need shows up. I'm going to give you a couple of funny examples of that. I decided to share this window. That when I got this was just a stained glass piece from a church. It was called Unity Church of Overland Park, and a very dynamic minister. And her name was Mary Omwake. Yeah, and she moved. So when the church moved, this was from the old church, this window. And I was at an auction. They said, we've got to do something with these windows. Now, I was new on the scene. And if it wasn't for Mary, I never would have been there, never would have worked there. That was a whole other prosperity story. I'm going to tell you that. Now, remind me to get back to that window. Okay? But what had happened is I was really guided to go look at Unity's ministerial school, even though I didn't know much about Unity. I'd been in Unity a little under a year, but I was guided to apply, and I showed up on a Sunday to look at the school and everything, and somebody said, you've got to go to UCOP. And I said, what is that? And they said, well, that's the biggest Unity around, man. That thing is something else. And that minister, just come on to church. I said, okay. So I walked in there and sit down with my friend Steve and his wife Ellen. They were in the school. And they said, hey, we're going to go to lunch with Mary Omwake. Do you want to go? I said, yeah. Helps the minister. I said, I'm not missing that. Turns out at lunch, I sat right by Mary. Right? I do not know her. You're remembering this. Never met her. She looked at me and said, so when are you going to school? I said, soon. That's why I'm here to check it out. She said, quit wondering. Do that. She said, and by the way, when you get in town, call me. You're going to work here. Oh, wow. I got into town my very first Sunday. I walked in the front door of UCOP. I'd gone ahead and sent a little resume. And a ministerial student came up and said, hey, you're going to work here. You need to apply for this job. I said, okay. Well, I already contacted the music director. No, you belong in youth ministry. You're going to do that. Well, I got hired for 2 jobs. I was assistant in youth ministry, and I was choir director. And I answered phones on Fridays. I said, I'll do anything. I don't care. I'll do anything. I got to make some money to go to school. I left my whole career. Left everything. You know? So I'm there. Been there a while. And we're back to the window. Mary Omwake leaves. Oh, my goodness. Everybody's in it. So anyway, they said, we got to raise some money. Let's do something with these windows. So it was just a window right here. And it turns out the table I was sitting at, there was a really nice guy. His name was Steve, and he was there with it. That was 2 Steves. But come to think of it, all the Steves I've known have been really cool. But I was sitting there, and I said, I've got to have that window. I don't care how much it is. $500, that's fine. So I said, I'd do it. $500 gift. That's great. So then Steve leans over, and he says, would you like me to put a frame around that for you? I said, I would. And when he brought it to me, he brought it with the Unity wings. He had looked up online. And it was funny because they just changed the logo, and I had a particular affinity with the wings. Because that center is the earth, and those wings are about bringing the wings of truth to the world. I love that. It was on a stand, it lit up and everything. It's been through several different derivations. Now we hung it here, but there's so much. This is a prosperity story in and of itself. It reminds me of our history. It reminds me to stay on point. This is usually like in a sacred place in my home. I brought it in to share with you all so it can feel like church in here. That tiniest little thing helps me know I'm connected. I could have never thought of all that on my own. When we have a consciousness, God answers that consciousness exactly and with grace. So the good news is, it's not even just what we think, it's our intention that matters. Our intention is what helps draw that goodness to us. Have you heard the statement, you're a magnet to attract your good? Have you heard that? Yep. Yes. It's called the law of what? Attraction. Yes. What we also, though, forget about is those negative pieces that we have not worked. Those places that need healing are also always drawing. So we talk so much in unity about healing, about doing, you'll hear me talk about your psychological work, you're doing your inner child work, because we don't want to carry these wounds and attract all this negativity to us. We want to focus on God, be in that presence of God on a regular basis. So that's the energy and the vibe of our lives. We want to call goodness in. So we don't have to rely, my friends, on the lottery. We rely on God. We rely on God because God is ever sustaining. The lottery comes and goes, right? We want to be aligned with source. Remembering it is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. And when you have that consciousness to receive, you cannot help but get it. So if there's something you're needing, wanting, desiring, the answer is God, nothing else. You don't need a brand new program. You don't have to go to a workshop. Source in God. The workshops are wonderful. The workshops, sometimes we gather with like-minded people and they help remind us, oh yeah, I can do this. This is why we come to church. Oh yeah, that's right. God is my source. But the other 6 days, my friends, it is on us to do this working consciousness. To remember, wherever I am, God is. In God I live and move and have my being. There is enough for me. God loves me. It is the Father's good pleasure to give me the kingdom. All is well. These are the kind of thoughts and statements we want to have. In God I live and move and have my being. It is the Father's good pleasure to give me the kingdom. All is well. All is well. So, even though my dad didn't know it, I think he was teaching me a lesson, even spiritually. If there's a desire I have, I've got to find a way to do it. But I have to start moving forward toward that dream, that goal, and that desire. I've got to be a part of the solution. Right? That putting our feet on our prayers. We keep talking about that. God is substance, but we have to move forward toward. A good friend of mine used to sing that song, move in the direction of your dreams. I love that idea. It always inspires me. What is my dream, goal, and desire? Well, I've got to move toward it. Right? It's my work to move toward it. My work to move toward it. So my friends, let's take a moment to pray together, to remember, in God I live and move and have my being. Yes. As we pray, we remember my fortune begins with me, my conscious awareness of God as source, of God that is good and holy and blessed and perfect. That in God there is perfect healing, there is abundance to fill every need, every hope, every want, and every desire. On those days where I feel human, God, help me. Help me realign with the truth that you are. Help me release worry, anxiety, or fear. And move into faith, to move forward towards those dreams, goals, and desires. Help me rest, God, in the faith that you are always sourcing me with all good. Help me, God, to know I am a powerful co-creator, co-creating a life of goodness, wholeness, peace, and love. So as we rest in this place, we know our connection with you, God. And now if there's someone in your life that needs a prayer that you want to include in this energy, in this substance of God, feel free to speak those names now. Josh, Malibu, Bud and Zeus. So for this time to know the truth, we are grateful and we are blessed. We affirm it is the Father's good pleasure to give me the kingdom. Will you say that with me? It is the Father's good pleasure to give me the kingdom. So it is. Amen.
As you return to your day, may you move with a little more ease, a little more awareness, and a deeper trust in the good that is already unfolding. Blessings on the journey. You're listening to the Experience of the Soul podcast channel, bringing you inspiration, teachings, and practices to support your spiritual journey.